Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's restaurant networking group. Today is September 26th. My name is Howard Appel. I'm the founder and publisher of Today's Restaurant, and we are a group of vendors who are here to help each other grow our business and to help any restaurant owner who has an issue or a problem that they're having trouble solving. We encourage you to give us a call at 561-620-8888 or go to our website at trnusa.com. And if you want to take a look at some of the videos that we have, close to 500, look at our YouTube channel, which is Today's Restaurant, which can be accessed through our website as well at trnusa.com. And while you're there, subscribe and click the like button. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
Hey.
Boy,
Uh,
it's lively group this morning.
I think
Well,
we're going to
called and said that they weren't going to be here for meetings and for other things. So we did get notices.
Well,
Don't worry, next week. And one was Ed Gerton, which I told, and I can't remember the other person.
Was it somebody in this group who gave me a communications company to invite? Because
I sent you like my friend who works for Spectrum.
yeah, I sent the invitation.
Did you? I don't know. I didn't reach out to her to see if she got it or not like that. I will send her a text.
Okay.
Howard, are you looking for any people in particular, like companies to join in particular? Because I know plenty of people.
Anybody that we don't have currently,
Okay.
basically any vendor or supplier that is not going to conflict with the existing group.
Yeah. I'll look at my list.
Your cleaning company that in Miami would be good.
I'll talk to him. Like I said, I just had a meeting with him yesterday about franchising his company. So let me talk to him. I'll reach out after this call and see if he can take that on, and then I'll bring it up as well.
Okay. It's an interesting subject right now, that franchising. I see that all over the internet, people asking, why not franchise? So, I mean, you want to tell us what's involved with it?
Sure, yeah. So franchising, it's not a too difficult thing to do. Obviously, it requires some capital to get everything up and running. But essentially what happens is like my team doesn't do the actual franchising portion. So we hand that off to our lawyers. We have excellent lawyers. They handle that entire process. What we do is once we franchise it, right? So we'll handle everything for you in the sense that we'll manage it, right? But once it gets franchising, all the corporate structures and everything is set up, then we go and then we find you people that actually want to own your franchise, right? Now, for what's involved with the franchising, so let's say that you have a successful restaurant or any other business that's been around for a certain period of time, right? You're not going to be franchising something that's been around for a year, 2 years, or anything like that. Um, there's there's not, I want to say there's specific rules that prevent you from doing it, but it's inadvisable because if you don't have a proven track record, no one's going to want to franchise your business, right? So you want to have at least a good track record. Like this company that I'm doing has around 10 years, 11 years now that they've been in existence, right? So it's a good starting point. They have their processes in place. They have, a proven track record of that they're making money, right? And so now what needs to happen is we're going to hand that off to our franchising attorneys. And what they're going to do is they're going to go through the whole process saying, okay, look, we filed all this paperwork. Now you have to come up with your standard processes, right? So you have to actually write out what the processes that need to be done in order for someone to come in and actually run your business, right? You have to set all those rules, regulations for your business, saying this is a proper way to actually run my business, right? And once all the documentation and everything is created, at that point, now you have something that's, a actual franchise, right? A legal franchise. So once you have that, then you go into the process of where we take back over, right? We're still managing you from point A to point B, but now we're taking over and now we're saying, okay, well, it's a legal franchise. So now I'm going to go out and I'm going to find people that actually want to franchise through you, right? So in this case, it's a cleaning company. So if someone out there wants to, be in the cleaning business, but they don't know how to start, or maybe, they want to invest in a cleaning company that they know that, it's proven, they have, marketing plays already set and everything, so they don't have to recreate the wheel. So if the franchise company is, doing marketing actively, right? You're paying for that as a franchisee, right? So you're coming in, you're paying a franchise fee, but because you're paying a franchise fee, and this all depends on who's the franchise, right? They're likely doing some sort of marketing that's bringing you clients as well, but you also have to do your own, active marketing. But at the very least, you're not out cold, right? So that's really the process. What we do is we'll facilitate the process. So you come to us, you say, I've been in business for this long, I have everything ready to go. I'll say, perfect. Let's go, approach the lawyers that are going to handle this, right? And our lawyers are actually pretty affordable. And they'll set up everything for you. Then it goes into phase two where we take over again, where we say, okay, you're ready to go. Let's actually find you people that, want to own your business.
In the case of a restaurant,
Mhm.
how many locations do you recommend they have before they even think about franchising?
I don't think the locations matter. I think what matters is, are you running your company efficiently, right? Because if you're running it efficiently and you're making money, right, where you can say, I could literally hand this recipe to someone and they can do the exact same thing, at that point, I would say, yeah, you can franchise it, right? Now, that doesn't happen until you've been around for a while, right? So if yeah, you could have a company that has like 5 locations, but if that company, like that restaurant, isn't run properly, what are you really handing to a new person that comes in, right? So if you're actively, managing the day to day and you're doing this and you're doing that and you're everywhere, right? There's not much that you can, say, hey, here's a process, right? Because that's really what you're doing. Because what prevents the person from going out and opening their own restaurant, right? What prevents them from doing it is that there's systems and processes in place. So that's what they're buying. So I would recommend that if you have a restaurant and you want to franchise it, either have the location where you already have your system and processes, or grow to the point where you're managing it to where you have enough capital to actually do the process, but where you are in a position where you say, I can manage this effectively.
But if somebody wants to open up a restaurant franchise, I would think that they're buying the concept. Of course, the procedures to run it, but the design, the
Yeah, but at the core, but what I'm saying is, so if there's brand value, yes, that's absolutely. But what I'm saying is, if you don't have systems and processes in place, someone could make a very similar concept, right? I mean,
Right.
all it's taking is, some capital up front. But what I'm saying is, you are buying the brand value, right? That's a major piece. I'm not discounting that. But in the core, no one is going to want to franchise a business under you if they're buying themselves a job, right? Where they have to figure everything out.
Right.
That's the idea that I was trying to get, right? Yes, they're buying the brand value. Obviously, that's valuable, right? So if you build a concept that people want, yeah, there's a higher likelihood that people are going to want to franchise under you. But if they come in and then you hand them nothing in the sense of here's a brand, but you got to figure it all out, that's not as attractive for someone that wants to, acquire something under you. At that point, they're on their own anyway. So what was the point of just buying that they can make their own brand? That's what I'm saying. It's both.
Yeah, it goes the other way too, Stephen, too, because I know I've talked to a couple of my clients who have huge franchises and they own the rights to other buildings. But like when a franchisor is taking 6% off the top, they're like, it's not worth the squeeze. It's
Yes.
not, it's got to be at least, proven track record, like you said, and like places in, and the processes in place. But that's also got to be, that the brand is so strong that you're going to be able to overcome that 6%,
Yeah. Well,
'cause-
and
yeah.
it's all about providing value, right? At
Yeah.
the end of the day, that's the core point, right? You have to provide value to someone. If I have, let's say I'm the owner of the cleaning company, someone wants to own the same cleaning company as me, what value am I providing them? Because if I'm just taking, and I'm promising, I'm not going to be great at franchising, right? That franchise is going to die because eventually they're going to say, well, why am I even in this business? I'm not making any money,
Right.
right?
There's
So
also
to first one.
Yeah. There's also inherent risk too, because like I have other clients of mine who have, two of the most popular locations in Lakeland and Winter Haven, and they refuse to franchise because they think that their product would suffer. Like they don't trust somebody coming in and owning their franchise and like being able to do the processes that they put in place to
Mhm.
make them successful. So they refuse to franchise because they don't want, their brand to be diminished on the other end.
Well,
Stephen,
oh, go ahead.
what's the difference between franchising and licensing?
Okay, so that's a great question. Franchising, you have an actual structure behind it. So licensing, you can't control what they do. You can give them guidelines, but at the end of the day, they have their own business that you're just licensing your brand to them, and they're going in and, if you sell a specific type of taco, right? But they decide, you know what, I'm gonna put cactus in my tacos, right? And you don't do that, guess what? You can't control that, right? That's licensing. With franchising, this is an actual structure, right? And licensing, I'm not saying anything bad about licensing. We did a while back, I forgot what's the name of it actually. Hold on. I was about to tell someone. Small cakes. So our CEO did small cakes and they started out with licensing and they're really successful and they've grown and now they're doing franchising, right? So the point that I'm trying to make is if you're willing to start out with licensing and maybe start out in like, you can't control as much, but you're growing, you're gaining that capital, then that's okay. But if you really want that control, franchising is the way to get that control. Um, I forget, Kurt, what was the points that you were making? Because I wanted to address that.
Oh,
The
just saying like not franchising because like you don't want your brand to actually be diminished because you don't trust other
Yeah.
people.
So there's two folds to that, right? Um, One is how good did you actually explain what your processes are, right? That like, you can write a great contract, but if you didn't really like, if you hand this off to a franchising lawyer, you say, here's my processes, but you didn't explain it properly, and it's vague, then someone has room for interpretation. So you obviously have to be good at saying, hey, look, these are the standard processes that we do. And if you can explain that properly, then the new franchise owner is going to be able to do it, and they're going to be legally bound by the contract for that, right? So it's a twofold thing, right? You have to explain it properly, but you also have the legal structure behind it that says if you're not doing this properly, I have a right to, do consequences or whatever the fact that you put in. But to Kurt's point, yeah, some people are scared of that, but at the end of the day, as long as you wrote your processes and procedures correctly, then someone should be able to follow it, right? It's just a matter of training. But yeah, if you don't want to take on that risk, then there's nothing we can do.
I think if you have a restaurant and you want to franchise it, you have to create, I guess, along with your attorney, a standards book. You have to, I mean, you have to
What?
hand over a document that tells them what they can and cannot do. For
Yes.
example, if a franchisee wants to buy a 6 burner range with a griddle, and the franchisor says, "No, we need an 8 burner range." You say you have to buy an 8 burner range, and you have to conform to the franchisor because you're buying into that theory.
Yep.
Yeah. Trust me, I've gone through a lot of my clients where they're like part of a franchise and they have to use their point of sale, and their point of sale is so terrible, and they're like doing everything in their power to get away from it. But then the franchisor has them under like legal lock and key where they can't switch their point of sale, and it's been a nightmare for a bunch of franchisors and franchisees also. So it's yeah. Sometimes there's too many things put in place and too many stipulations, and they don't. You got to give them some wiggle
Yeah.
room, but also give them the right process at the same time. There's like a balance there.
Yeah, and what I would say to that, like if you're like if you're creating a franchise, right, they may stipulate specific things, one to standardize things, obviously, but the other thing is, you know, if I own the franchise, there's different ways that I can make money, right? Like let's say that I am forcing, I think it's In and Out or one of these companies, right? They have a factory where they're making all the ingredients and then they're forcing their franchisees to purchase from them, right? So that's one way to make money, right? If you have, if you're using the payment processing or whatever, right? A standard thing, if you are in control of that and you get a good deal, you're going to push that out and you may be making money that way, right? On a referral fee or something like that, right?
Yeah, yeah, okay.
So when you're in control, if you get large enough and you start, making these deals, like there's different avenues where you're making that money. So yeah, it's restrictive to the person that, bought the franchise, right?
Mhm.
But as the person that owns the actual franchise, you're in control of that. So not only are you getting the franchise fee, but if you've stipulated in that contract, well, you have to buy these ingredients from me, or if you create your own specific, sauces or something like that, right?
Mhm.
Well, they're gonna be forced to buy specifically from you at a certain price. That's another way to make money. There's a bunch of different ways to structure it. Some are restrictive, like what Kurt is saying, definitely. But at the end of the day, it's your concept, right? So you get to decide how people use that concept and how you make money. And the person that buys into the franchise needs to decide, is it worth it to them?
Hey, Stephen, that sounds like almost like Chick-fil-A has become so popular. It's because it's standardized. If I go to a Chick-fil-A in Florida or here in Alabama, I know I'm going to get waffle fries. I know I'm going to get the same type of chicken sandwich. Everything's exactly the same.
Yep.
And so it's like you take something and you just duplicate it and
Hmm.
you just add on to it. And and they're, I think if I'm not mistaken, Chick-fil-A is one of the least expensive franchises to open. I think it's like $10,000 all you have to have in capital.
But there's
But
restrictions on that one though.
uh
Chick-fil-A, what they do is you don't ever actually own the franchise. So yeah, you put in $10,000, but what happens is you're a glorified manager. Now you're making a great salary, but you are not allowed to have any other businesses. You're not allowed to be absentee, right? You have to be, I mean, obviously you can travel and stuff, but you have to be consistently in the business, right? But at the end of the day, it's corporate owned, right?
so
They're
why do they call them owner operators?
Because you own a specific portion, but they will kick you out.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean,
So they're not buying into the franchise. They're just buying a
They're
that
just
ten
they're
thousand
just buying into
dollars,
it. They're just buying into a name is what they're doing in a sense.
yeah, that $10,000. I don't know the correct amount because I haven't dealt with it, but I do know about Chick-fil-A. That $10,000 will likely get you a portion of that Chick-fil-A that you are an owner, right? But at the end of the day, you're a minority owner. That is a corporate owned store. And if they say you are not up to par, they will kick you out. You only paid $10,000 for those shares, right?
Sure.
It's not a stretch that they can just kick you out. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Right.
So the point is, for these franchises that are like claiming, oh, it's really cheap or whatever. It is, but the demand to get into one is significantly high. They only open a certain amount, so there's likely a lottery involved with that. You
Right.
have to have worked at Chick-fil-A for a significant period of time. So you have to have the experience of actually being in there, right? So it's not like I can just go and
Yeah.
no, like I have to go either quit what I'm doing, go
Yeah.
work at Chick-fil-A for 6 months to a year, or however long they stipulate.
I think it's 5 years.
It's 5 years.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. See, I mean, so it's not something that is an option for everybody. However, if you own the concept and you want to do something similar to that, you can absolutely stipulate that. If you say, I need someone that's actively involved in the restaurant, you can absolutely do that. Um, like a lot of restaurants, you have to have like if you're the owner of a restaurant, you're working in that restaurant 24/7, right?
Mhm.
So if you decide, you know what, this is not a concept that I can franchise and not have that person working in here, right? You can stipulate that that person has to work there, a certain number of times. Like you can put anything in a contract, right? A franchising agreement is just a glorified contract. So whatever you want to put in there, you can stuff that with however much stuff you want. You just have to be aware that if you stuff too much, someone may not want to actually sign that contract.
Another way you can make money is be like Ray Kroc and go into real estate, not the restaurant business.
Hmm.
You own
Yeah,
the
so
land, you own the land, you sell the land, they build the building, they own the building, you own the land,
Hmm.
and that is how he made
Yeah.
his fortune.
That's McDonald's. That's Long John Silver's. That's Sherwin-Williams. Like all those
mhm.
buildings. Like
Yeah, but Kurt, there's a lot of Long John Silver's and Captain D's going out of business now. I mean, we don't have any Long John Silver's or Captain D's left in Huntsville at all.
right,
And it's sad because you can just drive up but I think the reason they're failing is because they're never consistent. You
right.
go to one Captain D's and you get a piece of fish this small, you go to another one, they're this big. There's no consistency in that, but
Mhm.
it's kind of hard to be consistent when it comes to the seafood business.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
fish are not the same size. I mean, but
Which is
If
funny
you,
too.
what's
And
I'm sorry,
that, Chris?
go ahead. Go ahead,
Oh,
Howard.
Chris said something.
I
Were you
was
saying
gonna
something?
say if you're a restaurant owner and you have one location or three locations, and you decide that you want a franchise, from that moment on to the time that you finish the franchise paperwork, how much time does it take and how much money does it take to create those documents?
So I can't give you specifics on that because everything is different, right? When you go into the process, we're gonna go talk to the lawyers and figure out based on what you want to do, how much is gonna be because everything is based on hours, right? So this is not like we can just give you, oh, here's a price tag and that's what it is, right? This is based on the lawyers, how much work they have to put in, what industry are you in? Is it an easy industry, right? Or are they dealing with the FCC? Are they dealing with, something else, right? So it all depends. I would say at minimum, um, have like 50K ready to go. I think that would,
That's the number that I heard, 50,000.
yeah, I would say that's roughly where you want to be, but it could range, right? It could go a lot higher or maybe a little less. But I would say roughly try to, have at least 50K disposable ready to go for the process. And that's all going straight to the lawyers. That's not even going to me. So that, the what I do, like I'll manage the process for you guys. And then when we're ready to go and we're ready to actually start selling, then I make commission when, I bring you a client that comes in right? So if someone buys it at that point, I make a portion, to actually facilitate the process.
Hey, Howard, I got a question for Steven, and this is coming from a personal, not
Mhm.
not my personal, but we're working with a franchisee right now. The question I have is, what do you see as the average age of a successful franchise owner?
Hmm.
The reason I'm bringing that up is I want to tell you a quick story about what we ran into a couple weeks
Mhm.
ago.
You know, I don't have a good one. Like the thing is, a lot of business owners that go into this, they're not young. Like this is not a young, I mean, to an extent it could be, but if you're that young, you're probably not going to have a successful business already ready to go. I mean, you can, but you know,
Well,
to have a track record that is, you know, at the very least like 5, 10 years that you can say, okay, I've been in business this long, let's franchise the concept. I mean, you're not going to be in your 20s or 30s. I mean, unless you started really early, maybe you'll get in your like 35s or something along those lines.
Yeah, there's
But
definitely
I would
outliers.
say, I'm sorry.
I said there's definitely some outliers on that bell curve, but
Yeah,
I,
no, there's always outliers. I'm not saying
Mhm.
there aren't. Like there's people that are really impressive, right? But the majority in that bell curve, right? You're probably looking
50.
40 and above.
Yeah.
well, I got we met a gentleman who bought into a franchise. Anybody heard of the restaurant chain Jefferson's?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so this gentleman goes to work at a Jefferson's as a dishwasher, working his way through school, gets his MBA in business. Okay, comes across some money from his family, buys his first franchise. Okay, buys his first restaurant. In 4 years, he has opened up, getting ready to open up his eighth franchise. Has the largest grossing restaurant out of the chain right down the road from me. 28 years old. Okay. I
Good.
mean, the guy, I mean, his process is working so well. He's got the people all in the right place. He just stays at home and does the paperwork at home because he knows the restaurants are going to run. But he's very, very strict. He puts the right people in place, make sure that they're following the rules because they know that corporate's watching him. Okay. And he's already looking at two more locations. And at 28 years old, owns a $500,000 home, has a house on the lake with a boat. I mean, 28 years old. How often does that happen? Very, very rare, I would say.
Yeah.
Very
That
rare.
type of person has like a different mentality for
Well, he
sure.
does. I
Yeah.
mean, he's never done anything but restaurant work.
Mhm.
That's all he's ever done. And I will tell you, he learned from failure. He was in the restaurant business, tried to own a restaurant, and failed miserably.
Mm-hmm.
Miserably.
Best
Okay.
way to learn.
But what he does, Steve, is he goes in, he looks for restaurants that are struggling to survive. He
Mm-hmm.
comes in, buys them out with the Jefferson's name. Everything's there. It's a sports bar already. All he has to do is go in there, change the concept, and then
Right.
he has a winning record. I mean, he's not building from the ground up. He doesn't want to build from the ground up because he doesn't want to own the real estate. He wants to rent the.
So,
But he's
so,
got
you know,
that location that he's looking at approved by the franchisor, by
Well,
Jefferson.
yeah. Well, what it is the franchisor came to him and said, "Hey, we want you to put a location here." He goes, "Well, what's the rent?" He said, "The rent's too high. I won't do it unless you get it for this." So the franchisor went to work for him because he knows how successful he is. I need to open up this here. This is how much he's willing to pay for rent. And the owner of the building said, "Okay, not a problem."
yeah.
You know, so
So, so on that point, I just want to mention that's a strategy that we can develop like for any sort of restaurant or bar or anything like that. So what he's doing is very smart, right? He's doing acquisitions. What we do is acquisitions, right? We're a business brokerage, right? So we'll franchise the concept. If someone wants to grow through acquisitions as well, that's also something we can do, right? His concept isn't franchising. He has people coming
no,
and
no, he has no, the Jefferson's is based out of St. Louis.
okay.
And so he went to work at a Jefferson's in Trenton, Georgia. Okay, very small location. Okay.
So he's under the franchise.
He's under the franchise, but he is,
Got it.
but
Okay.
he's,
Yeah.
but he's been so successful in his concept and his
Mhm.
theory behind going in and trying to find failing restaurants to the point where he can acquire them, put the Jefferson's name on there. So all he's doing is going in and just putting the name out there. He's spreading the name for them, and
Yeah.
he's sitting pretty. I mean,
Yeah. So that's definitely something that can be done. I mean, with the cleaning company that I'm potentially franchising, that's a little bit more rare because cleaning companies are, I mean, there's a lot of them, but to find a failing one, everybody that's doing cleaning is doing pretty well at this point. But for restaurants, the lifespan of most businesses is, if I recall correctly, I mean, 95% fail, especially of restaurants, like if
Years.
they're a new concept. But out of those, the lifespan is anywhere from 3 to 5 years, right? Once they get to that point, they're either failing or they're starting to be successful, right? What he's doing is he's growing through acquisitions, right? And his strategy is he's looking for people that are in the more desperate side
Mhm.
because they're failing, they want to get out, they don't have a lot of options. So he's coming in and he's getting a great deal. So of course he can expand rather quickly because he's probably negotiating really good terms just based on the fact that they're not doing well, right? Now that's an actual strategy. Um, and his strategy is actually really good because if he has a concept that he knows works and can attract businesses, and all he's doing is just acquiring all the assets, I mean, you're doing it at a discount, right? So he's doing an asset sale. He's gutting the name, he's gutting everything. He says, "Here you go, new concept," right? That is something we can facilitate as well, right? So if someone wants to grow through franchising or if someone wants to grow through acquisitions, if they say, I want to buy this many restaurants, I mean, restaurants is a great place to do that because it's not a consolidated industry, right? There's no major players. I mean, there's big chains, but they don't control more than 5% of the market, right? There's so many concepts out there, and so if someone's looking to expand that way, that's definitely something that can be done. Um, it takes a little bit of capital, but if you have it, then you can grow significantly and become, positive as long as you have a good strategy to turn, to bring in cash flow, right? Because if you just go in, you acquire something and then you have no plan, sorry to break it to you, you're gonna acquire a failing asset and then fail with the failing asset.
Steven, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Um, if you see like, I mean, we were talking about like the strained relationship sometimes between a franchisor and a franchisee, but if you have a
Mhm.
franchisee like, what Rick was just talking about, like do you see sometimes where like franchisees have more leveraging, power against the franchisor? Because it's like obviously like, oh, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep opening up locations. I can negotiate a better deal than what
It,
like the actual original contract is.
it all depends on what you signed, right?
Mhm.
Like if first of all, um, if you're the franchisor, you can set rules that they can only open a certain number of locations or they control a certain region or something like that, right?
Right.
So now, if this guy that owns the Jeffries, if there's no restrictions on how many, where, or anything like that, he can just buy up failing everywhere and then just open up,
Right.
right? But the contract that you sign as someone that bought into the franchise, if that contract says you can only open up in this place or you can only open up in this region, right? You're not, that strategy's not going to apply, right? Now, if it's a free for all, like Subway right now, right? Subway is a terrible, terrible business to be in. Um, I don't know if where you guys are at, but where I am, there's three Subways in the same road, right? They're cannibalizing each other's business. There's no restrictions whatsoever. And what the company does is they make their money off of the fees, right? So they just keep, opening, opening, opening. And so now there's lawsuits and everything, against the franchisor. but they don't care. They're just trying to open as many as humanly possible as quickly as possible. So that's why you'll get 3 in the same road because corporate is like, we don't care, right? So my point with that is everything is what you put in the contract. You can have that strategy if the contract allows you flexibility. You are only, as someone that buys into a franchise, you are only legally required to follow what the contract says, right? Anything around that is up to interpretation. But that's why it's a franchise agreement.
But look
So
at Quiznos. Quiznos had a franchise uh, structure around the country, and they decided that they were going to put in equipment so that the sandwiches could be made hot. And the franchisees rebelled against it, and the whole chain went down.
Yeah.
They couldn't
yeah,
make, they weren't making enough money to start with to start making an investment in equipment that was going to change the whole process.
yep. And that just goes to how restrictive are you, right? If you're forcing all your franchisees to do a specific thing that's detrimental to them, you're not going to have a business for much longer. So, I mean, you'll have your corporate stores if you can afford to even do what you're planning on doing. So,
Well, I I asked one question, and we
It was a
thoroughly
great,
investigated it. That was great. Thank you.
welcome.
I do want to get our intros in because a lot of the things that we do fall into that category. So, Stephen, tell us what you do formally first.
Yeah, so I'm Steven Fuentes. I'm Vice President of Operations for the Shark Team Business Brokers. So we
Hello.
help people buy and sell businesses. Obviously, we just talked about franchising, so we can facilitate that as well. And I'm also a business certified appraiser. So we actually, do real appraisals. We don't just throw numbers at the wall when we're listing businesses. I talked a lot, so I'll just give my contact and then we'll let everybody else go. But so you can reach me at Steven, Steven, at sharkteam.com, which is SHARKTEAM.com. Or you can call me directly to my personal number, which is 407-547-6996.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for
Okay.
the insight. Here's a member who thinking about franchising somewhere in this recesses, right, Mel?
Well, we're not ready to franchise yet, but we're getting into season. I see Terry's background there, the fall colors, and it reminds me that the farmers market season is about to begin. Just like there's a baseball season, a football season, and so here in Florida, I'm not sure what the number is, whether it's 30% of the population grows in the next couple of months or so. And so with the growth in the population and then the heat, the 90-degree days out there dropping back down to the 80s or what have you, that brings the people to the farmers market. So there really is a season that and so we're gearing up for the season, giving you an idea what we'll be up to. And the next month or two, we'll be monthly attending, having, in the course of a 30-day month, 24 markets we'll be into. So that'll be really significant. We've really learned a lot in the 9 months we've been in the business, and now we're ready for our first real season. So we're very excited about that.
Let me ask you a question. We're doing this group, and people all over the country have the opportunity to watch this and learn about what we do. So let's say there's a guy in Kansas City who has his finger on the pulse of some of the farmers markets in his area, and he wants to carry your product. Wouldn't that be something for you to license or franchise at some point down the road?
Yes, I definitely would say that. But in the 9 months, we're still in that learning process. So we started out, the Concord Grape Pie Company is what we're known as, and we bring this very unique pie. But now we've added to the line because customers have come up to us and said, "Hey, I want an apple pie. I want a blueberry pie. I want a cherry pie." We've added those pies, and now we have this new concept of the mini pies. These 4-inch little pies, you can get 4 of them into a nice little box, like a gift box, and a person can come up and pick the 4 right off the counter there, and we put them in a box, and now we've built an interesting business. We're really excited about that, especially for the holiday season. Coming up Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and so Valentine's Day, and so forth. We will have a gift pack. The box itself won't be a plain white box with a window to look at and see the product. It'll be a beautiful gift box that we'll be selling along the lines of if we ask the person, are you in business? And the guy may say yes, of course. And well, why don't you consider taking some of these uh, gift boxes and give them to your clients, so forth. Or somebody, if you're going out to somebody's house for dinner, instead of bringing maybe a bottle of wine or some flowers, bring the gift pack. So we're very excited about that. You can envision on our selling table will be a stack of these boxes, and we're very excited about that as well. So
All right, well,
we're
tell
just
us how
early
we can
on
reach.
in building this.
Tell us how we can reach you.
Yeah, you can reach me on 954-684-6881. And of course, the Concord Grape Pie Company .com, and you find me there. So
Huh.
that's only one of our 3 revenue streams, but we concentrated on that first one, the farmers market, so that we could really understand what the customer wants, and what his needs are. And now the other 2 revenue streams that we're working on is we're revising our website uh, uh, to capture, the online sales, and for the pies, the full pie, as well as the gift pies. So, and then the third stream is to just uh, go out to restaurants and open up restaurant customers. So that's where we're at right now.
Okay, great. Chris, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Chris Kaufman, Restaurant All Stars, looking to continue to provide human capital for those companies looking to enhance the lineup of talent that they have in their restaurant. A couple of companies have registered a couple of significant general management opportunities. One company, they specifically would like somebody from a Michelin 1-star, 2-star, or 3-star restaurant, but they're willing to pay 120, 140, and that's a pretty good number. But Michelin 1-star, 2-star, and 3-star people are not exactly on every street corner. So therefore, they've called in the recruiter, the broker of opportunity. Restaurant All Stars, 404 All Star. Call 24/7, 365.
Thank you. Kurt, good morning.
Good morning. Kurt Hayden was spot on. Everything under the one roof as far as restaurant technology is concerned, point of sale processing, online ordering, websites, QR codes, handhelds, everything you need to make it run your business efficient. You can reach me at 727-667-3825. My email address is kurt.hayden@spoton.com, and I mostly service the Orlando and Tampa areas. Kurt Hayden, because your business should be spot on.
Okay, thank you. Brandon, good morning.
He's on mute.
All right, hey,
All right,
there
can
you
y'all
go.
hear me now?
Yeah.
Awesome. Sorry about that. My computer's been acting up lately. I'm gonna send it home or send it to bed without dinner tonight. So, but anyway, my name is Brandon. I'm with ITD Food Safety, and what we are and who we are is we're a technology company that has food safety specific solutions that we've developed for the market, and they've been in the market for the last 20 years, mainly around prep labeling and temperature log management. But we have just opened up a food safety training line. I have a food safety training center here in Melbourne, Florida, and we are getting everyone trained and certified so they can be safe food handlers and food protection managers in the state of Florida. So anyone owns a restaurant or knows people that are owning a restaurant right now, there's a lot of violations going on because of lack of training. Don't know how that happened, but what we have going on is you can get fined for not having training. So I do online courses, I do in-person courses, I do on-site courses, but you can give me a call at 321-308-6137, or you can email me and I'll put all my info in the chat. But Brandon Daniels, ITD Food Safety.
And you, as far as the school goes for training, you work nationwide?
Yes.
Okay, good. I see every once in a while I get reports from other parts of the country. I'll forward that to you.
Okay, that'd be perfect. And forgot to mention, include webinar. So and we are going to be talking about the neurovirus this next Wednesday at noon. So grab your lunch and willingness to learn about one of the worst viruses when it comes to food safety.
Holy
All right,
crap.
thanks. Rick, good morning.
Thank you. After my presentation, I'm not the jet. I got another call here. Good morning, everybody. Rick Israel with Lifeline Insurance Consultants based here in Huntsville, Alabama. We are an independent brokerage firm that helps individuals guide from group insurance to the Medicare side, which we are knee deep into right now. We also will venture into group benefits, volunteer benefits, and worksite benefits. So if you know of anybody Steve, if you know somebody that's buying into a business that needs assistance, we are licensed in Florida. We could help that franchisee owner or the individual buying into it get insurance for their employees, volunteer benefits, worksite benefits like AFLAC, Colonial, Guardian, all those big names. But I can be reached at 256-746-9581. I hope everybody has a great weekend. If you are of the Jewish faith, have a happy Yom Kippur. And I have to jet because I'll have to see y'all next week.
One quick question. Did you have any conversation with the lady that was here last week, the insurance company?
I have her information. I did email her. I haven't heard back from her, but I have the information. Again, I'll reach out. We've just been so busy getting prepared. The season officially opens up next Wednesday on the 1st of October, and it'll be burning the midnight oil each night till December the 7th. So I will, if I don't get to her now, I'll probably be after the end of annual enrollment, to be honest with you. So,
okay.
but I do want to get in touch with her.
All right. Let's go to Terry. Good morning.
Hey there, great presentations. Learned a lot about franchising there that I had no idea, Stephen. Terrific. Thank you. And for all the questions that were asked, certainly appreciate that. And Brandon, you're right. I get emails every day and almost every day about restaurants closing down because of food safety. And it's pretty sad that they don't know that they go to all the trouble and spend all that money and have no idea. I mean, that should have been like a first thing, a no-brainer, you know what I mean? But anyway, and what I do is find some restaurants that are going to replace the ones that can't open and reopen. And my team and I get together and we, all months, we spend 40 hours a week and sometimes a lot more putting together a spreadsheet for you at the end of the month. So on the first few days of a month, you'll get a lead report. Many in both groups get these reports. They pass them on to other people who then get them. They pay the price that's online. You pay the price that is not online, which is a lot less being in the group. That is a monthly report, 12 months for a year in an Excel spreadsheet. So you can store them any way you want. We've got already, this is the 26th. I'm formatting them now with more coming in every single day. I think we have right now about 70, maybe a little more, that are just in the under construction, entering Florida, lease signed, ground up build, whatever it is, phase, and another 30 or more in the line above that have just recently opened. All different kinds. We don't put in McDonald's, Chick-fil-A's, any of that. This is all independents or big restaurant groups. Oh gosh, franchises, all kinds of restaurants I've never heard of, and I've been doing this for 9 years. These reports takes a lot of time. We have a lot of resources that we go to, but we get the job done. So if anybody wants a sample report, email me, terry@trnusa.com. And anybody going to the show, we will see you in a little over a month in Orlando at the convention center.
6 weeks.
A lot of us have booths and we're all in a row. And I need to go order the royal red carpeting so that we fit in with everybody else in our row. Anyway, have a good weekend and happy fasting if you fast for Yom Kippur next week.
Okay. Unless there's anything else anybody wants to bring up, I want to thank you for coming for a great conversation today. That was very informative and it was great.
We woke Stephen up. So
You
much
did, yeah.
So we'll see you next week in October. Don't think, yeah, Steve.
Oh, I had a question for Kurt. Hey, so you do payment processing as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
We specialize in like restaurants, obviously, but we started
Okay.
with World Payments, so like we still do, like payment terminals and just do the processing part for businesses as well.
Got it, but you actually charge the fees and everything, right?
Yeah.
It's not like going okay.
Yep.
Cool. That was
Okay.
it.
All right. Have a great week. See you next week, and let the sauce be with you.